It's Hugh from QLC. Welcome back. So, uh, a little rant for you. I had previously looked up an article from Vogue because it had popped up on Instagram and other people had talked about it. There's a Vogue article with Billie Eilish, and she's being interviewed by a reporter, and she's basically talking about how she believes that men are weak, that they can't, control their urges, and that, they're just the worst, basically. Um, Personally, I don't believe that men are weak, but I do believe that at times a lot of people, not just men, but a lot of people can be undisciplined, just in general, when it comes to money, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to uh, just social skills. Everyone can do a little bit better, but I don't believe that men in general are like sexual predators who can't control themselves. What I do believe is that everyone can do better when it comes to interactions with other people. People can do things in moderation, for example, alcohol, or people can, meet up with people and interact with people without being creepy or disturbing, just have a nice time with people. What I also believe is that society, this is just a personal opinion, you don't have to believe in it, but society is making it a lot easier and a lot more favorable to just hate on men for a bunch of different reasons. I understand a call for, equal rights and women feeling safe inside and outside their homes with the whole, social media campaigns that have come about over the last few years. But what I don't understand is why all men are being painted with the same brush. When Sarah Everard died, she was killed, uh, and other things happened to her because of a police officer. Uh, a police officer. Obviously, that doesn't all. It's not always a police officer. I mean, it's a rare occasion, but you know, it wasn't an ordinary bloke that did it. It was somebody that was supposed to enforce the law and protect people. Um, but when she unfortunately passed away, she was missing for like a week. But then it turned out that when she was found, um, she had obviously been killed. When she had been killed, people had decided to blame all men and come up with arguments such as, "Oh, we know not all men are bad, but we have to presume that all men have the capability of doing such things." I don't agree with this whatsoever. Women have, killed men and done terrible things to men, uh, but we shouldn't presume that all women are like that. Just like we shouldn't presume that all men are like that. What's also important to point out is that you had these left wing and liberal politicians flirting with the idea of 6 p.m. curfews for men only. That's ridiculous, but it was something that was at least talked about. And, you have to understand that, a few politicians were flirting with the idea of pubs and bars, men being, looked out, not men being, what's the term? Men being snooped upon, guards checking out men to see if they're going to do anything stupid towards women. And the people that would be doing this would be like guards or police officers. And I don't think they see the irony in this, considering that Sarah Everard's killer was a police officer, a male police officer with a female accomplice. Now, I'm not trying to scapegoat police officers. What I'm just saying is that you have to understand that not everybody has those tendencies, especially when it comes to harming people. And a lot of people, including men, have more discipline than that, and better morals. But I don't like the fact that uh, and Billie Eilish is one person, but the fact of the matter is she's a celebrity. She's a musician. A lot of young women are going to look up to her and think, oh, if she thinks that men are weak, then maybe I should believe that, because people look up to their idols. People look up to the people that they like in the public space. We shouldn't create and cultivate a culture in which we should just presume that all men are evil, or that all men are predators, or that all men are bad, just because of what a very small minority of men have been doing. It's not fair. I mean, we've all seen the accusations against John Barrowman and Noel Clarke, two actors that used to be on Doctor Who, but obviously they've gone on to do other things. Um, but, what's interesting is that, John Barrowman and Noel Clarke has denied everything. Joel Barrowman has come up and said, look, I'm sorry for doing this and that. I didn't think I was hurting anybody. Please forgive me. I'll do better. And I think people might leave John Barrowman alone. But Noel Clarke, 20 women have come forward saying, oh, he did this, he did that. I'm not going to list the stuff that he has been accused of doing. But it's gotten to the point where Noel Clarke, the final episode of the ITV drama that he had, uh, that he was a part of, had been taken off the air. It wasn't going to be shown because people just automatically presumed that he was guilty. Like, there was no trial, but people just presumed that he was guilty because so many women came forward and said that he did stuff to them, or around them, or said stuff to them. Now, am I to believe the women, or am I to believe the men? Personally, I believe anyone and everyone, whatever the crime is innocent until proven guilty. But obviously, if they've done those things, that's not something that should be condoned. Uh, what does fascinate me was that some of these allegations happened years ago, and the women are coming forward now. But I'm not going to question the validity of the accusations. That's not what I'm doing. What I am doing is I'm just thinking about the fact that, human beings, we have to be careful not to do, the wrong thing. Otherwise, it will come back to bite us in the ass in a few years or a few decades. Um, but it does also fascinate me, if I'm being truthfully honest, how some women do terrible things, or not so great things, depending on the person. Uh, and then there aren't really any repercussions for them. For example, I've made a few videos when it comes to sexual predators, particularly female teachers. There's a gender bias there. If it's a male teacher going after a female student and they have, you know, they do, what, the man is almost definitely going to jail. He's going to lose his job. He'll never go back to teaching. But if it's a woman, she might not go back to teaching, but sometimes the woman's not going to jail. She'll not much will happen to her. How the media portrays these people is very different as well. If it's a male teacher with a female student, then he's a predator, he's evil, he's a pedophile. But if it's a woman, they'll you can look it up for yourselves. Don't necessarily believe everything I say. But you can look it up for yourself. You'll have female teachers going after male students, doing stuff with them. The minors, by the way, and the headline will say female teacher had a sexual relationship with a male student, and I'm like, hang on, but he's a minor. Technically, that's illegal, and it's immoral. Like, even if they both wanted to do it, you have to understand this is a child that she's dealing with here. But it's treated differently because it's a female teacher. They don't think that it's subconsciously people. We're not subconsciously people don't see it as big of a deal as if it was a male student doing stuff with a male teacher doing stuff with a female student. Like, it does remind me of the situation with Cardi B. Now, again, I'm not trying to hate on Cardi B, but this is something that she admitted to. She talked about how she used to be a stripper, how she would seduce clients, take them back to their places, drug them and rob them and leave. Now, that's very problematic for many different reasons, but nothing's ever going to happen to her. A few months after she came up with that IG live where she was basically snitching on herself, her music video WAP became extremely popular. The song WAP became the number one song across the Western world. Nothing's ever going to happen to Cardi B, a black woman, but a black man, Noel Clarke, his career's going down the drain because of stuff that may have happened. It's not confirmed, innocent until proven guilty, may have happened a few years ago. Same with John Barrowman. But I don't think John Barrowman's career is going to go down the drain. I think it's just going to take a very tiny dip, and then after the apology, it's going to mellow out and then go back up again because it's John Barrowman. There are differences there. But I don't believe, going back to my main point, I don't believe that men are weak or that all men are weak. What annoyed me about the Vogue, um, I think it was another article talking about the Vogue interview. What annoyed me about the article that I looked at was that the female writer talked about how, you know, Billie Eilish gives examples of how men can exude or exhibit not just fragile masculinity but toxic masculinity. I find that a little bit laughable because again, we're talking about some men, a few men, not all of us, and you have to understand that these buzzwords such as fragile masculinity and toxic masculinity, that's talking about when men are supposed to be too soft or too macho, respectively. So let's say I talk about my problems. Oh, I'm dealing with this, family issues, financial issues, work related issues, etc., hypothetically. And I cry about it and I'm very upset and, I'm very sensitive about it. And people will turn around and say, oh, you're acting like a girl. That's fragile masculinity. Um, but if I'm macho about it and pretend that there's no problem and that I'm the king of the world and that I'm the strongest and the most alpha there is, and that I get all the girls and I lift the most weights and I'm the smartest there is, apparently that's toxic masculinity. Obviously, I'm using very extreme examples, but that's how some people talk, particularly left leaning people and liberals at times. I don't think this is accurate because people are going to say silly things, but it doesn't make them fragile or toxic. It just makes them human. People are fallible. People make mistakes. If as a man you want to be the strongest there is and the smartest there is, and better with women than an average male, um, that doesn't make you toxic. A lot of men want those things. Even if you're not straight, a lot of not straight men are going to want to, have a decent sex life. It is what it is, at least the ones that have a sex drive or care about that stuff. But if you're not into those things and you want to be sensitive and funny and caring and compassionate and talk about your feelings, why should that be called soft? Why should that be fragile? Doesn't make any sense. So either way, men are getting trashed and it's not cool. Then you have to look at all of the so-called high value men in the celebrity space that are getting divorced right now. Politicians, billionaire businessmen, athletes, actors, rappers. I've mentioned this time and time again in this channel. People like Bill Gates, Elon Musk has been divorced multiple times. Jeff Bezos got divorced. All these rappers and athletes either being cucked or entangled or, getting divorced or their wives are cheating on them or their wives are leaving them. It just shows you that despite what they've been telling men since we were conceived, basically, especially men within ethnic minority households or ethnic minority backgrounds, they tell us from the gets, from the jump, you're not anything important if unless you got the money, the clout, the women, the fancy cars, jewelry, houses, boat, pool, tennis court, basketball court, indoor theater, all this nonsense, the fancy clothes, you're not anything important unless you have these things. That's been implied, if not stated outright, in the like to every man and particularly every uh non-white bloke since we were born. But then you see these men who seem to have everything, whether they're white, whether they're black, doesn't matter, uh, and they've got all the money. Some of them are rappers, so they're musically talented. Some of them are athletes and actors, so they've got they're physically in shape, most of them. And if not, they've got a lot of money and they've got a lot of wealth and a lot of assets and all the stuff that I bloomin' mentioned. And their wives are still cheating on them, leaving on them, taking breaks so that they can sleep with other people, um, divorcing them. Where, what are the rules? Because now I'm not gonna lie. It's not just myself. I'm pretty sure a lot of men, they're having their worldview shattered right now, because after this lockdown, after this pandemic crisis, we're seeing that it doesn't really take any of those things to keep a marriage or to keep a long-term relationship. Perhaps it's other things, but men have been forced to believe, not just by men, but by women as well, and by the media, and by friends, and by family, and other people, that to have all those things, it would do you a great service to have, and it would do you a great disservice not to have those things. Especially when it comes to physical attributes, you got to be tall, you've got to be well endowed, you got to be rich, etc., etc. But men that have these things, life doesn't work out with for them. Marriage doesn't work out for them. So if it doesn't work out for guys like that, you know, what are the chances that things are going to work out for the rest of us, right? And you've got people like Matthew Perry and Ben Affleck matching with women half their age on these dating apps such as Raya, whatever it's called. And, these women go out of their way to embarrass these older gentlemen, saying, oh, look at me. I'm 19, I'm 20, I've got this guy twice my age that I matched with on this dating app. Matched with, as in she wanted to talk to him as well. And then they match in the dating app. And then the girl that Matthew Perry matched with, she went and blasted it online, and then she got kicked off the app because she disobeyed the privacy agreement. And then the girl that matched with Ben Affleck, she didn't actually realize it was Ben Affleck. She thought it was a fake profile, even though it's supposed to be an exclusive app. And then Ben Affleck, for some silly reason, decided to post a video for her and say, hey, it's me. And I'm like, bro, come on. You're Ben Affleck. You're Batman. You don't need her. Why are you trying to prove your why are you trying to prove the validity of your existence on an app to a random stranger? There's no point. And then other people commented on it and tried to make him look bad. And I'm thinking, why are you trying to make them look bad? They're looking for, female companions in this lonely, cruel world, just like everybody else. Apparently, if you got all the money in the world and all the fame in the world, it doesn't get any easier for them. It doesn't get any easier for you, even if you've got all of those things. So again, how are things going to be better for the rest of us normal people? Either way, men get trashed, whether they've got nothing, whether they've got some things, or whether they've got everything. So, does society hate on men? Probably, yes. So, what can we do about it? Well, I don't really have too much of an answer for that, but from what I can tell, just strive to be a better human being, help other people, focus on yourself, become more physically fit, become wealthier, not just in terms of money, but in terms of social relationships, um, and just make sure that you're, fulfilling your purpose, whatever that is, and also to, run your business well, or to do your job well, and to do whatever it takes so that you can maximize the potential and, just have a great, well-rounded life. And when you listen to or see different people trash on men for no reason, just live your life and make sure that you live such a life so that no one can ever say anything negative about you. And that's all I have to say on the matter. If I've missed anything out, or if you think I should comment on something else, or if you have any ideas of what I should talk about on this channel, then please leave a comment below. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and tap the bell so that you don't miss a notification. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.